November 23, 1996, Ethiopian Airlines Flight 1910 a Boeing 777-2000er, departs Addis Ababa for Nairobi. Captain Leul Abate, a seasoned pilot who has already survived 2 previous hijackings, takes command of the routine passenger flight. Just 20 minutes into the journey, terror strikes the cabin. 3 young Ethiopian men storm the cockpit, wielding an axe and what appears to be a bomb, violently demanding the captain divert the aircraft immediately to Australia. The hijackers brutally assault the co-pilot, forcing him out of the cockpit. Captain Abate is left alone with the attackers. They declare over the PAW system, "We are in control, drop your weapons or we blow up the plane." The hijackers demand a flight to Australia, citing a magazine article stating the Boeing 777 can fly 11 hours. Captain Abate desperately tries to explain they only have enough fuel for the short trip to Nairobi. "We do not have the fuel to reach Australia," Captain Abate pleads, showing the gauges. The lead hijacker ignores the instruments, convinced it is a trick. He orders the captain to fly over the ocean regardless. Secretly, Captain Abate keeps the aircraft close to the African coastline, heading south toward the Comoros Islands. He knows flying out into the open Indian Ocean means certain death for all 75 souls on board. The hijackers notice the shoreline out the window and become enraged. They violently force the captain to turn the heavy aircraft directly eastward, heading out into the vast, unforgiving expanse of the deep blue Indian Ocean. For hours, a tense standoff ensues. The hijackers drink the aircraft's liquor supply, their behavior becoming increasingly erratic and dangerous. The captain desperately monitors the rapidly declining fuel gauges, scanning the horizon for any sign of land. "Mayday, mayday, this is Ethiopian 9026-1. We have been hijacked and we are running out of fuel." The desperate radio transmission echoes into the void as the 7077 approaches the airspace of the remote Comoros Islands. The right engine sputters and dies as the fuel tanks run dry. A master warning alarm blares through the cockpit. Captain Abate calmly addresses the passengers, "Ladies and gentlemen, we have lost an engine. Prepare for an emergency." The hijackers panic. The lead attacker storms back to the cockpit door, yelling incoherently. Captain Abate wrestles with the heavy controls, fighting to maintain altitude as the asymmetric thrust threatens to pull the giant aircraft into a fatal spin. Minutes later, the left engine completely fails. The 777 goes terrifyingly quiet. The cockpit goes dark, leaving only the standby instruments illuminated by battery power. The massive airliner is now a 100-ton glider descending rapidly toward the ocean. Ethiopian 9061, we have lost both engines. We are ditching. The captain makes his final, chilling broadcast. The ram air turbine deploys, providing barely enough hydraulic pressure to keep the flight control surfaces minimally responsive. Captain Abate spots the island of Grand Comore. He aims for the runway at Prince Said Ibrahim Airport, but the hijackers violently intervene, physically fighting the captain for the flight yoke as the ground rushes up. In the struggle, the hijackers disable the autopilot and disrupt the captain's attempt to line up with the runway. At 500 feet, Captain Abate realizes he cannot make the airport. He prepares for the ultimate nightmare, a water ditching. "Brace for impact! Brace for impact!" The terrifying command echoes through the cabin. Passengers scramble to don life vests, some inflating them too early inside the cabin, a fatal mistake that will soon trap them against the ceiling. The captain spots a shallow reef off Lagaloa Beach. Tourists on the white sand look up in horror as the silent, massive Boeing 777 banks sharply toward the shallow, crystal-clear turquoise waters just offshore. At 75 miles per hour, the left wingtip catches the ocean surface. The immense forces tear the engine from the wing. The fuselage slams into the water, generating a massive wall of white spray and terrifying destruction. The aircraft cartwheels violently, breaking into 3 distinct pieces before coming to a sudden, devastating stop. The fuselage rapidly fills with seawater. Chaos erupts as survivors desperately try to escape sinking, mangled wreckage in the surf. Tourists and local residents on the beach instantly rush into the ocean, using small boats and surfboards to reach the survivors. They brave jagged metal and leaking jet fuel to pull desperate passengers from the rapidly sinking fuselage. Tragically, many passengers who inflated their life jackets prematurely inside the cabin are trapped by the rising water. Pinned against the ceiling of the submerged fuselage, they are unable to swim down to the emergency exits. 25 people, including the 3 hijackers, lose their lives in the shallow waters. However, against all odds, 50 people survived the horrific impact. Both Captain Leul Abate and his co-pilot miraculously survived the devastating crash and the violent hijacking. The entire crash is captured on a tourist camcorder from the beach. This rare, terrifying footage becomes iconic, providing investigators with an unprecedented, real-time look at the physics and sheer violence of a large commercial airliner ditching. Investigators praise Captain Abate's incredible airmanship. Despite physical assaults and zero fuel, he executed a textbook ditching profile, flying the plane all the way to the water. His refusal to give up undoubtedly saved those 50 lives. The tragedy of Flight 9061 completely revolutionized aviation safety. It led to stricter cabin security protocols, comprehensive crew training on hijacking psychology, and massive public awareness campaigns reminding passengers to never inflate life vests inside a sinking aircraft.